Every empire produces its own Cassandra. For America, that was Gore Vidal. As the circus of the 21st century plays on, rediscovering Vidal has been a revelation. Vidal is the most trenchant critic of the American empire and the last defender of the old republic. Vidal's most famous appearance was the 1968 debates with William F. Buckley Jr. on live TV, an era when ideas still mattered. Buckley called Vidal a queer after Vidal labeled him a, let's say, to not unsettle my algorithm masters, a crypto flash cyst. Because he entered television when it was brand new, Vidal got screen time even as a leftist. I read most of Vidal's essays in the early 1990s, but before I had pulled back the curtain and learned how the empire really works. But I would soon be flying over Iraq, riding the pointy end of the spear like Slim Pickens, and seeing firsthand the piles of BS. An essay I did not read in real time, but have discovered recently is Cue the Green God, Ted. Not this Ted, but Ted Koppel, the longtime Nightline anchor, a smooth bishop dispensing the national religion of corporate America on ABC. I have been in awe that this essay was written in 1989. For me, it has detonated an atom bomb. Real writers are always the early warning radar for the population. The essay starts with a bang for 21st century readers. While at Exeter, just before the U.S. entry into World War II, Vidal recalls the division between the interventionists and the isolationists, known at that time as America Firsters. Before the page is done, Vidal recalls that villain, Harry S. Truman, who dropped the atomic bombs and created the CIA.
Truman decided to put the United States on permanent wartime footing, garrison state. CIA was invented not to spy on the Russians. It was to keep our allies like you under our control. First thing the CIA did in 48 and 49 was infiltrate the trade unions so they wouldn't go leftist in Germany, Italy, England.
By the 1990s, Vidal always felt he needed to remind the United States of amnesia about the creation of the national security state. Evidently, Vidal had read the triumphant Manufacturing Consent and the Media Monopoly, the literal textbooks on how Western states perfected propaganda in ways Pravda wished it could. He seemed to be living the reality firsthand. Despite the outstanding ratings of his debates with Buckley, Vidal was never invited back. Greenlit political shows canceled with phone calls from the CEO suite. When Peter Jennings wanted to bring him back on ABC for old time's sake, the answer was no, because Vidal would just be too outrageous. He is American aristocracy, a consummate name-dropper, a relation of the Kennedys, a cousin of Al Gore, a friend and flatmate of Paul Newman. He once walked down the center aisle of the Senate in swim trunks as a young lad. His blind grandfather was a senator, but resigned himself to his happy life as an outrageous liberal, in the original meaning of the word. The essay drops Koppel, Kissinger, Gorbachev, and Jerry Falwell, a perfect cross-section of the times and the whirlwind prose of this essay. 3 more things. I rarely laugh out loud reading. But from the essay. I seldom watch television, but when I do set out to twirl the dial, it is usually on Sunday, when our corporate rulers address us from their cathode pulpit. Seedy Washington journalists, sharp-eyed government officials who could not dispose of a brand new car in Spokane, think tank employees, and always Henry Kissinger, whose destruction of so many Asians and their once charming real estate won him a prize for peace from the ironists of Northern Europe. The level of the chat on those programs is about as low as it is possible to get without actually serving the viewers gin. Vidal, for his sake, thankfully passed this mortal coil before the invention of TikTok. Almost on cue, knowing what we need, especially in our own age where the cabinet does not know the Constitution and knows only one amendment in the Bill of Rights. The historian Vidal produces a voice preceding the founding dads, David Hume. Nothing appears more surprising to those who consider human affairs with a philosophical eye than the easiness with which the many are governed by the few, and the implicit submission with which men resign their own sentiments and passions to those of their rulers. When we inquire by what means this wonder is effected, we shall find that, as force is always on the side of the governed, the governors have nothing to support them but opinion. In my second LOL moment in a mere 8 pages, Vidal quotes a 1972 letter by future Supreme Court Justice Lewis Powell to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, proposing that they buy the top academic reputations in the country to give big business stronger voices on campuses. Vidal asks, "Stronger than what?" However, the last paragraph of this chaotic essay detonates my core in 2025. As someone who dedicated his life after the Air Force to playing a part to keep the planet below 1.5 C, with little success, and someone who wants to build legitimate global institutions, this final paragraph has gut-punched me like Mike Tyson. The science is unambiguous, but has it been co-opted for world-spanning Big Brother and totalitarianism? The few are demoralized. Fortunately, the Messiah is at hand, the Green God. Everyone on Earth now worships him. Soon there will be a worldwide green movement and the establishment of a worldwide state, which the few will take over, thus enslaving us all while forgetting to save the planet. That is the worst-case scenario. The best? Let the many create a new few. This 1989 warning from Vidal has hit me like a sledgehammer. I don't think the green agenda is the transport vehicle carrying the majority of totalitarians, but I despair now it could be in the Convoy. We truly stand on the banks of the Rubicon in 2025. At the end, Vidal only found airtime on European television and sold books telling the real history of the United States. Let's hope his brand of actual left-wing outrageous becomes the new normal very, very soon. The first 3 months of ChrisAverageTV have been a roller coaster. Team Average, we're building something here. If you're tired of the noise and hungry for the signal, subscribe. We are this close to the first 100. You can help push us over the line. Please join the first 100. Peace.